sharing sharing content 100% builds confidence, because what happens is we're overly critical by nature. So say for instance, if I were to put something out, the first thing I would notice is not what I'm saying, but I'd be like, I shouldn't have worn that shirt. Man, I look fat. I look this, I look that. And it's good to be able to see opportunities. I don't say flaws, I say opportunities. Because once you see opportunities, it forces you to either deal with it or run away from them. One of the two. And so if a person is running, that means they don't want to deal with it.
Now, but in this social media era, to that person's own self-conscious point, it's because there's so much negative comments online. So when you do put something online, I notice I'm a comment junkie. And so you'll notice something that's super awesome, and I'll be like, oh, look at that in the background. You know what I mean? Like, and that will be a focus. So like, what do you think about how to deal with it? Because that's what I mean. When you expose yourself like that through sharing your content, you're also exposing yourself to criticism. And so how do you persevere through that? Because I've struggled with that. Living in public life, we talk about public service. It'll be 99 comments. Oh, this is great, great, great. It's the 3 that's like, this is the worst thing ever. Mayor, you're stealing from folks, and that's why you're doing this. Like, it's those that get all the energy. And I done forgot all the other 97 things that was good, but those 3 things is what captured me. So if we're talking to young people about, hey, we want you to get out there, get comfortable with content sharing, but how do you think they overcome the criticism?
Through repetition of consistently being prepped for those negatives, for those opportunities. So say for instance, a lot of times we think shielding them from that type of stuff is the solution, and it's not. It's preparing them for it. It's like if I was to become a fighter and you hit me one time and I'm like, I'll fold. Yeah. But in practice, if I'm taking this all day, I'm conditioning myself to be stronger in that space.
So what does practice look like in content creation?
Content creation practice looks like delivering in front of that red dot, rolling back the tape, and looking at all the areas where you're weak and beating yourself in that space until you're no longer weak. So you're like, I look chunky. Now I'm going to Planet Fitness. I'm slurring my words too much. Now I'm beating myself with articulation. I'm humped over. Now I'm overly big, stretching and stressing posture. So what happens is that red dot, literally, it doesn't lie. It shows you what is. And so we need to prepare children for what is. Not shield them from what is and say, the world is no. The world is nasty.
That's real.
Let me prepare you for nasty.
That's real.
You're going to hear this and you're going to hear that. And so through conditioning them in a cocoon of love prepares them for that nastiness. It's how you teach kids about the nastiness. If you, say for instance, if in a house that's not trained well on parenting, you ain't gonna never be nothing, and your daddy wasn't nothing. That's not how you teach a person how to be strong, by giving them negative. But in love, you tell them sometimes people are going to say things like this and like it's how you. So that's why your school is necessary, to create an environment that teaches about the sweet aspects of life, but also about the bitter. And so it's how we incubate these children and these future leaders and acclimate them to what's out there.
Oh, that's good. Now, the other thing that I feel like I've learned through just online content is the building of community and finding your community. And that has been something I know I've struggled with, is finding my tribe. But I feel like what I see online, you'll have this puzzle person and they found their tribe. So all the puzzle makers and puzzle people are they locked in. Or it's your community of watches, watch collectors, and they found their community on there.
Yeah.
What do you think about, and how do you see content being a place for people to find community and find their tribe? And have you found yours in your journey? We're going to dig into your journey.
I found my tribe in my community, and it's through trial and error. You have to fight through the comments, and you have to fight through the no comments at all. And is this really worth it? You know, and so you have to continue with consistency, with a belief in self that you will find your community. But that process is a lonely process that you must endure over time. So a lot of people have to understand that. Sometimes the road to greatness is lonely. But once you do begin to find people that have the like interest that you have, because you've been isolated with self so long, you now have the capacity to nurture and hold that relationship. Most people don't understand that. When you do find that first person in your community, how well are you as a friend, as a listener, as a reciprocator? And so that depends how you work that depends on how many other people you can now create and become a community by starting with one person.
Yeah, and then you almost start curating yourself sometimes around that. Yeah.
So if you're not a good friend, a good listener, a good leader, there is no community. Wait, no need. You're gonna get one, you're gonna lose one, you're gonna find one, you're gonna lose that one. So you're gonna always have a limited. But how you build community is based on how you can literally develop self, and then develop and empower that first one, and then the second one and the third one, and that's how you build.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think, part of it is some communities already exist, and you need to try to discover and find them. And like you said, be a good community member. You know, be a servant, be a listener, be someone worthy of being embraced into that community. And then sometimes you got to build the community. Sometimes it's like you said, is that first person that you connect with. How are you interacting with them? And then the second one, and curating that community yourself, which is a much more difficult task to take on than there's an existing community. So I guess it's twofold. It could be just as difficult trying to be accepted into a community as it is trying to create your own community. I mean, both of them have their risks and hazing and all. There's different things to going down the acceptance path than there is the other. So let's talk about your journey and story. So you shared with us, you had a background and career in the IT field. God closed that door, and then there was no other option but to pursue what was in you. And so talk about what you did once that door closed and you realized, all right, I got to really pursue what's in me. What was that thing that you discovered, and how did you go about it?
Well, the first thing I did was I always used to record just to soothe my own soul. And so I was shy. So to be an artist and record, create a digital product, but then be too shy to release it. It kind of canceled each other out. So what happened is, through desperation of, I got to make money somehow, it forced me to say, I got to get over this shyness. I gotta face the red dot of my life. And so I put out that thing that I knew was great, but I just felt like I don't know if the world would embrace it that way. But I had to get over that too. And I threw it out there, and
your community found it to some.
Well, you have to decode things to discover your community. God don't literally just throw the money bag in your lap. He gives you things to decode. And so the people would say stuff like, your music really blessed my life. I was going through a harsh relationship, and you helped me make better choices. And man, just listening to your lyrics, and I listened to your songs, and they helped me realize that what I was in and what you're singing about, I don't have that. And so I started saying, you know what? I have something here, something about women in a certain age group, in relationships, looking for love, looking for a safe space. So I began to throw more of that out and look for those type of audiences. And next thing you know, I discovered my market.
Talk about your philosophy on a fisher of men. And I thought that was pretty unique.
Take on the Bible talks about two agricultural categories: sowing seed, which is farming. So in order to learn how to be successful in life, you got to know how to farm. You got to know how to fish, become fishermen of men. Sowing seed, I'll start there. God gives us all seed. No one can create seed. No one can create a seed. A seed is a gift. And so God gives us all a seed. And we have really one job. Take that seed outward. Find fertile ground and plant that seed. And so that seed is a gift or talent or some kind of strong ability that you have. You got to get it out first. Get past the red dot and be confident enough to get it out. But don't just put it on the carpet. Don't put it on the street. You have to now find, through discernment, what's fertile ground. And so that's to develop a relationship with people. Like, I feel like I can trust this person. This is fertile ground. Let me tell them about my school. Let me tell them about my thing. And I plant it there. And next thing you know, magical things begin to happen. And so once you sow a seed, and the Bible mentions that, we can plant and water all day, but it is God who makes it grow. So there's a point where we've done all we can do in that space. So, but the next phase is to now become a fisherman of men, which means you must understand fishing. And so I'll sum this up really quickly. Before you go fishing, you got to determine what you desire to catch. If you don't have a desired idea of what you're trying to catch, you'll eat anything, and you bring anything back home. And so you don't want that. You want to be specific. God says to write it, make it plain. That means be specific, and I'll give you those desires. But so know what you want to fish for. Have the right bait or lure or product. Cast it in the right spaces. You're not fishing on the street and on the side of in the ditch. You're fishing in lakes and fishing in oceans, and
fishing where you want to catch.
And when you fish, understand most people's dreams are big. God, I want this. Wow. Do you have the capacity for this? And are you in position to receive this type of blessing, that size? So a lot of times we want well-sized blessings, fishing from the bank. And if you understand, the big fish are out there.
Deep water.
And so we got to go out from our comfort zone, and we got to go deep. And so that metaphor means we got to leave the comforts of where we in control. I feel the ground underneath my feet. We need to go into a place where we are now in.
Your buoy,
there it is, all day, every day. And we got to go deep. Deep means get an understanding, a deeper understanding. You don't catch big fish with shallow understanding. You don't catch big audiences with shallow understanding and shallow content. So you got to understand fishing and farming. And I somewhat mastered that concept and was able to sell 1 million units.
Wow.
No record company, no lie.
Wow.
Yeah. So I teach others how to develop a product, how to sow that seed, how to make it multiply, and how to fish for the audience that will sustain your growth.
And who has been like your target in terms of, you mentioned from your artistic side, but from the business side of assisting other folks in finding where their audience is and connecting and putting their product out? Who's been that target for that?
The most inconspicuous, why would he choose that type of person? I select people that God literally sends to me through natural, organic interactions. And they're typically not artists. They're typically people who are in a transition. Typically people who are like at a crossroad, like, I need to do something different. And I say, well, what is that different thing? It's crazy, but I want to do this. I'm like, that's not crazy. It's doable. Let's do it. And so...
and then talk a little bit about the process you're going to take those folks through.
For me, it's so simple. Purge. Literally, I want you to be a client, and I want you to come and literally say, okay, Carmichael, what do you want me to do? And I said, I want you to dream out loud. I want you to give me the desires of your heart out loud. If you had a genie in a bottle, if you could do it all over, give me that. Don't give me what's safe and what's attainable and what you can do with your resources. Give me what can't be done with your resources right now. I want that. And so I'll listen and divinely get the confirmation that we have what it takes to do that. Because remember, I don't have the ability to make it grow. I just have the ability to prepare the seed for it to be. So I can help you get that seed in the right position and say, okay, we've put it in fertile ground, we've watered it, God, so you said, and so I can help you get that in position, and then I can help you fish. And so,
I love that.
It's for me, it's a guarantee.
Not necessarily disclosing the individual person, but do you have a story that you could tell somebody you work with where you felt like you watched that whole process happen?
I've worked with people like India Ari, Ruben Studdard. I've worked with it's an attorney. His name is Attorney Charles Ford. Seemingly unknown person. He was a retired 60-year-old attorney. And I met him one day. He was dressed really nice. I'm like, I want to dress like that. And his suits were immaculate. I'm like, he said, yeah, I'm a retired attorney. I was like, wow. And I said, we became friends. And he told me his life story. And I said, your life is a movie. You've done so much. So like your life story. And what happened was I got that divine feeling. I'm like, your life is a movie. Why don't I help you shoot the movie? I said, you want to shoot a movie on your life? I have a media company, and if you're interesting enough, I want to invest in your story. And so I shot a documentary movie on his life. And the movie became a book. And so he's like, why are we doing all this? Ain't nobody going to buy it. I said, it's not about whether or not people are going to buy it. It's about being obedient to an idea.
Yeah, that's real.
You got a feeling, get it out.
That's real.
Don't be thinking about, I got a feeling, but I'm not going to get it out because ain't nobody going, how do you know? Just be obedient to that thought. And so we did the movie and the book. And then I asked him, I said, you retired and you're 60 years old. I understand. His life is, he's done his career. You know what I asked him to do? I said, something's telling me you need to come out of retirement. And he said, well, what would I do? I said, do what you've always been doing, continue to do what you're doing. I think you stopped too soon. And he took a year to think about it. He called me in California. I was living in California at the time. He said, I've been thinking about it. I'm gonna apply for the Georgia Bar Association. And if I lose this money, hey, come right home. I said, have you ever lost before? He applied for the Georgia Bar after being retired all those years in past. He immediately got a job with Atlanta and became a defense attorney. Then he got a promotion. He became the Assistant Solicitor General for Cobb County.
Wow.
Yes. Now he just got appointed as a judge at 71.
Oh, wow.
A decade after coming out of retirement, he's living higher than he was before he retired. So sometimes we stop too early because we work for Caesar, but then we don't work that seed that God, that career that God has intended for us. Literally, we can work 35, 40 years for a company, or that gift that God has inside of us, you will work infinitely.
Yeah. And how do you think him creating the book and the movie, how do you think that played a role in that journey?
It showed him that there was more left in him that increased his life. He literally, at 71, you look at his book, look at pictures of him in his 40s and in his 50s, he looks older. God literally is reversing the clock on his life. He's getting more youthful. And that youth is allowing him, that's worth more than money.
What do you think happened? So hearing you say that, it makes me think, what do you think happens to the soul when you're capturing this, you know, and when you're putting this together? What do you think is happening internally with someone that maybe they're addressing something they maybe haven't addressed, or what do you think is happening that causes this kind of transformation?
You're releasing a weight. You're releasing a W-E-I-G-H-T, a heaviness, but you're also releasing a W-A-I-T. Because once you get rid of all those things that's holding you back, there's no more weight as far as heaviness, and there's no more weight as far as your breakthroughs. They're happening one after the other. Whether it's health, whether it's prosperity, whether it's peace of mind, you're immediately being thrown into those areas with no delay.
Yeah.
There is no delay because there's nothing holding you back anymore. You face the red light and you're like, it doesn't even stop you no more. You see the red light and you talking even more. Like you was explaining about your daughters. She's one way, you know, off the camera, but when that camera come on, it's like, it's a different person. When you're able to get past the red light of life and be who you are comfortably, you grow in that comfortableness, and there's no wait. There's no delay. Nothing can stop you.
Just almost like you're liberate by telling your story. It's like how you see with people after they tell their story, like the confession. You know, when somebody gives their confession, how they're kind of, you know,
yes,
that's off me now. Now y'all got it. Now let's go. You know what I mean? Like, it's out of me now. Y'all got it. Let's go.
There it is.
That's good. So how do people find you, and what's the name of your company? How can people find you and connect with you?
The name of the company is CO. C-O. People like, the name of your company is company? No, it's not. CO means, it's a prefix that if you put it with any word, it means something you can't do by yourself. The reason why people fail is because we're trying to do too much by ourselves. Co means together. So communicate, co-worker, collaborate, coach. You can't coach. You know, it's got to be a student, it's got to be a teacher. Everything with co means together. So when people come to co, I make sure that everything that they desire, we're going to do it together. It's called Co-Creative Arts, and that's C-O-C-R-E, the number 8, I-V-E, Arts.
And where are you based out of?
Hapeville, Georgia.
And then online, if people want to find you online, how can they find you online?
They can find me under my artist name, Carmichael Music Lover. Carmichael Music Lover. You can just Google that. I'm the only person with that name on the planet.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you came, man. I'm glad we was able to. And thank you to Mr. Booker letting us use the studio. And make sure y'all follow Carmichael online, get connected, unlock those dreams. And looking forward to having more stories to tell as a result, including my own. So,
please.
Blessings, man. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Well, all right. Well, I want y'all to know.